It's always been, for, at least in my lifetime, and it's always been like when I, and we'll talk about this, but when I think about like the getting ready scene,
Sure.
it's this.
Oh, yeah.
It's this. It's maybe Rambo.
Yeah.
Which this movie and Rambo are, this sort of started the feud
Yeah.
of the Schwarzenegger Stallone sort of rivalry, and which I get because the studios were pushing it upon them. Like,
Yeah.
when they talk about like, oh, the final scene was this, and then we heard that Rambo had a bigger body count,
Right.
so you're like, fuck that.
And what two perfect guys to just battle it out. Kind of. I mean, the studios have to be getting like a hard on during this time, and just like, okay, we have our two money makers for anything action that we want to do. Van Damme hasn't come around yet.
No.
And we're just let him go at it and give Schwarzenegger Jr. later on, and we'll see what he can do with that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what he wants to branch out.
Yeah.
But man, what's his next movie after this? Do you know?
Was it Running Man?
That would make sense. I'm just thinking, like, because he goes, it's all action, it's all crazy action, and then Twins, Kindergarten Cop. We get to see like his range, and it's wonderful. And he displays some range in this movie. His one-liners and things like that, they're delivered in a way that shouldn't work.
Right.
But he's so charismatic and like, please don't disturb my friend.
Yeah.
He's dead tired.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no tongue-in-cheek in the way he says his tongue-in-cheek lines. It's just so fun to watch.
Right. Well, get this.
Okay.
Right after Commando in '85, he went to Raw Deal. After Raw Deal, going to Predator, Running Man, Red Heat, Twins, Total Recall, Kindergarten Cop,
Wow.
T2.
Wow.
Like,
what a year. What a decade.
that's 4 years right there of just...
Oh, bangers.
Yeah.
I always got Red Heat and Raw Deal confused.
Yeah.
Raw Deal was with Belushi.
Belushi, yeah.
Oh, what a pairing.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah. We could do any of those movies. Maybe we should do an Arnold August or something like that.
And who's behind a lot of these movies? In the background, you don't see him as an actor.
Oh, who are you referencing?
Sousa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stephen DeSouza. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
we've talked about before, but we'll go into again a little bit here later on. But yeah.
And one person who was considering Schwarzenegger for a role saw this movie and made him want Schwarzenegger, and that was McTiernan.
McTiernan, yeah.
For Predator.
Yeah.
Saw this as his... I mean, absolutely. This is Dutch right here.
Oh, easily, yeah.
This is a prequel to Predator.
And we even get some nods to Predator in this as well. Well, Predator came after, but Predator gives nods to locations, locales in Commando, Val Verde and everything.
They apparently use that in a lot of... as not to offend the delicate tendencies of Cuba and U.S. relations in the 80s, they wanted that sort of southwestern dictator-style character, and so they make up this city. They've used this city in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
Is it Val Verde?
Val Verde?
I believe that's what it is.
The Green?
The Green? That's
so fun little Hollywood trick. It's just like the movie in the video game Just Cause.
Yeah.
They always make up these...
Val Verde, excuse me.
Val Verde.
Yeah.
They make up all these, which is a really fun series if you're an action fan. Just Cause is. It's like you're a mercenary, but it's the same principle as Grand Theft Auto. So you're just running around. But they create cities that have hints of like Mexico or Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
So as not to like make certain people the bad guys. So we can see Schwarzenegger is on a roll. He's crushing Hollywood right now. He's up and comer. Studios, like you said, are hard for him.
Right. Still big into the bodybuilding too. I mean, still huge in that. Yeah.
He's was he competing during this time?
I don't think he was competing.
Right.
I think he stopped competing by then, but still he was a fixture within it.
He's considered the I mean, they're called it the Arnold Classic. There's still he was at the peak of bodybuilding. If you haven't seen Pumping Iron, it's a blast. It's so fun to watch, and he's sort of brought bodybuilding to the forefront in Venice Beach and all that shit in the 70s. Gold's Gym. He's sort of not solely responsible. Certainly, I don't want to, offend anybody who's put their life into bodybuilding, but he's certainly the most well-known bodybuilder in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Of all time, right?
Oh, I would think anybody thinks bodybuilding, they think
right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
But I wonder if it's like, like if if you're a big basketball fan,
right?
You're like, what, LeBron James, greatest player of all time, and you're like, I see why you say that, but like maybe fundamentally Chris Paul's a better player.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like, we know because of Arnold, but actually Lou Ferrigno is like more, Yeah. I wonder if that's within the bodybuilding community, if there's things like that.
And I think it is, because it was watching this and kind of looking at his bodybuilding career. There's like two sports that I can think of where I think if you talk to the actual professionals who are in that sport, they would say the same thing. I think bodybuilding, they would still say Arnold is the mainstay of what he accomplished, what he did for the sport. And I think Berzink, too.
Berzink,
yeah. And I think everybody who goes would say Berzink
Arnold's the Berzink of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And not the other way around.
Yeah.
You're welcome, John Berzink. Thanks for listening. So, we have basically... The studio was like, the head of the studio. So there's this wonderful oral history of the movie Commando by Empire Magazine, and they get interviews with Ray Dong Chong, Mark Lester, D'Souza, Jeff Loeb, one of the original writers, who also co-wrote Teen Wolf 2, I think.
Jason Bateman, big time.
What a great. But I mean. I'm looking for the specific quote here. You can find this interview anywhere, but basically the quote is, I'll paraphrase it because I can't find it, but there's a producer who's talking to another producer, and they're like, or maybe it's Lester. Anyway, they go, hey, if we can find a movie for under $12 million that you think Arnold would be good in, we'll do it. Yeah. You have funding immediately. Because they were just like, he's the hottest thing right now. Right. I mean, after Terminator, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I wish I could go back and see what that hype was like. Because I imagine it was great for Linda Hamilton. Yeah. But, like, you walk away, it's like, that guy was insane. That guy was awesome.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's because of James Cameron and those amazing special effects. But a lot of it's, Arnold was just great in that movie. What are some other fun facts about this movie, Marcus?
Well, I kind of want to go over the synopsis first.
Good idea.
Just in case. If you haven't seen Commando.
Which, turn off your fucking computer right now.
Exactly. So, retired Special Forces soldier John Matrix lives with daughter Jenny in isolation, but his privacy is disturbed by former Commander Franklin Kirby, who warns him that his fellow soldiers are getting killed one by one. After Kirby leaves, Jenny is kidnapped by former Latin American dictator Arias, who wants Matrix to restore him to power. Instead, Matrix sets out to take down the rogue leader and rescue his daughter. Now, there were some taglines. You see the taglines for this, too?
I did not look up the taglines.
Oh, man, there's some good ones. A couple of good ones.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I guess some? Yeah, let's see here. Okay. Okay, this is one that I would like it to be. I know it's not. He's big. He's bad. He's a dad.
Close.
Because that's kind of the whole movie.
It is.
Let's see. I'm not as good at this as you. Kills, thrills. Nope. Maybe we'll edit this out. What are they?
So the first one, if there's a mission that no man could survive, ... then he's the man for the job. And then the other one was, they hunted him down, they murdered his friends. Now they've taken the one thing he would kill for, his only daughter. May heaven help them.
I like that.
That's pretty good, right?
I like that. You could also say Commando. May heaven help them.
Right, yeah.
That could just be like one. There were a few drafts of this script, we should say.
Right.
Like, the original script had, like, former Israeli Special Forces guy who didn't want to do this, and he's like, I'm done with violence. And then eventually the daughter thing was, like, the only real through line. It's much more politically charged thriller. But where they ended up, to make it simple.
Yeah. You have Arnold. That's all you need right now.
And which wasn't originally...
No.
You imagine some of the people we're going to name for this role. Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, yep.
Which would be a very different movie.
Yep.
I almost think it would be funnier.
It would. It would.
Because Nick Nolte looks a lot like the other guys who gets killed in John's unit.
Yeah, yeah.
No one looks like
the first guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The first guy I was going to reference specifically.
Right.
I don't know. He looks like
that guy had to be a communications guy or something. I don't think he was a frontline,
explosives expert, demolition maybe. Right. But he certainly had given that life up.
Yeah, he has. Nice house in the San Fernando Valley, it looked like.
And he's very interested in getting his trash out.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if the characters in this movie, Vernon Wells' character.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Vernon Wells is
Bennett.
Who's the guy with the dark eyes, circles under his eyes? He's in Predator.
Bill Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Bill Duke's character is just like, okay, we're gonna sneak in with the trash can, with the trash car, trash truck, and we'll park, and no one will be suspicious. And we'll sneak in, and they're just pulling up, and all of a sudden, this guy is like, "Wait!"
Like, well, this is gonna be easy.
All right, well, shit, perfect. But it always struck me as odd. It's like, watching this as a kid, it's like, man, adults fucking love taking trash out.
Yeah.
He freaks out.
Yeah, he does. Tuesday. What are they doing here on a Tuesday?
Rushing around his house like he's trying to clean up after a party.
He's got the garage bag hanging there on the kitchen counter or something.
It's the weirdest reaction to it. But we can talk about more about that scene later. But
who was the other guy? The big lead man of one of the biggest rock bands ever that they were trying to get for Matrix. That they were thinking about.
They wrote them.
Yeah, they wrote. Yeah.
So this script was originally written for. They really are one of the most money-making bands of all time, and a lot of that is for what's it called? Merchandise and things like that, and all the merchandise. But Gene Simmons,
man.
If you look at a picture of Gene Simmons, I never would and maybe that's why. Maybe they wanted a McClane type thing. But Die Hard was later.
Yeah.
Die Hard's 87.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were trying to do. Maybe Gene Simmons was like, I am interested in doing a movie.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, great. Your Kiss, we could. But no, I don't know. I couldn't find much about why it didn't happen, or, I can think of why it didn't happen, but.
I wonder what Gene Simmons looked like. I mean, we know he wasn't ripped, but I mean, I wonder if he was that look of what was the horrible one that we just watched, Amazon Prime.
Oh, Deadly Prey.
Deadly Prey. I wonder if he looked like the second bad guy, kind of, the bigger kind of just he was dad big kind of thing.
Dad big. I don't. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been a very different movie. Yeah. But, they go through all these different scripts, and D'Souza and Loeb and all these people get together and punch it up, and they eventually come to the idea of, no, let's make this guy look like he could kill everybody.
Right.
And
he does.
Arnold's perfect.
Yeah.
He's...
Starting from the first scene, with that log on his shoulders that this guy can do damage.
My God. That scene, we'll talk about that. But let's talk more about the background of this movie.
Sure.
Let's talk about Rae Dawn Chong. A lot of people auditioned for this.
Yeah.
It was written for a white woman.
Yeah.
Should be mentioned. And as I watched it, recently, in my most recent, I watched the director's cut. As a kid, I don't even think I as watching, be like, oh, they cast a black woman.
Right.
I think I just took it for what it's this very beautiful woman.
Yeah.
But then watching it now, I was like, wow, that must have been I wonder if that was a thing they had to fight for.
Yeah.
Because
interracial. Yeah, interracial. I was thinking that the same thing too. Man, I remember watching this and didn't give two fucks that it was a black woman.
Man, isn't that sad that that's sort of what society puts on us?
Right.
Anyway, so Sharon Stone, Brigitte Nielsen, some of the names they auditioned. And I could see how Rae Dawn Chong would outshine them in this.
Yeah.
Because I don't see them as the quick wit,
no.
I'm going to be your intellectually equal and maybe even surpass you in moments. and I'm going to do it with a smirk.
Right.
I don't see Brigitte